Okay, just got this VIAIR 88P portable compressor. Plan on carrying this in my truck along with a plug kit. That way, if I'm out and about, get a nail, screw, or anything in the tire that causes it to go flat or even lose air, I'll be able to plug it and then air it back up. And I always carry a plug kit in all my vehicles. I don't necessarily have a compressor in all of them, but I have a plug kit in every single vehicle I drive and that my family drives, because there's been so many times that I've actually had to plug tires, not only for me but for other people. And I think everybody ought to have a plug kit. And I'm going to do a review on the plug kit that I carry in my truck. It's not the same plug kit that I carry in everything, but in the truck I decided to go ahead and get a pretty nice plug kit. But today we're going to take a look at this VIAIR 88P portable compressor. So I just got it. We're going to open it up. We're going to see what it comes with. And we're also going to check the current draw that this thing uses. Now this is the one. This is one of their models that it's about the medium of the road of the models that they carry. You can see the specs right there. 1.47 CFM at 0 psi. 25-minute duty cycle at 30 psi. Now that means that if you've got 30 psi of pressure, you can leave this running for 25 minutes hooked up, pumping air into a tire that has already 30 psi of pressure in it. Of course, the more pressure that this thing is having to overcome, the harder it's going to have to work. And that's one of the things we're going to look at, because I think we're going to look at the manual here real quick. We're going to look at the specs. And basically what we're looking at is, of course, it's a 12-volt system. Now this is I don't know if you can see the picture, but this is the one with alligator clips. You got to hook it straight to your battery. You can't hook it to the cigarette lighter. It pulls too much current. They're afraid that you're going to either pop the fuse, which is probably what would happen, or melt the wiring because it's just pulling too much current. And what this thing is showing is it draws a max of 20 amps. So what I'm planning on doing is I've got a 33-inch tire here that's flat, and we're going to pump it up. We're going to see how long it takes. We're going to monitor the current draw, and we're going to see going from a flat tire to 35 or even 40 pounds. We're going to see not only how long that's going to take, but how much current it's going to end up drawing. Because obviously you don't want to run your battery down if you're pumping your tire up, because then you're just going to have a whole new problem. But let's see what we got here. So we've got a 12-volt, obviously, pump. Max current's 20 amps. Max working pressure is 120 psi. Max duty cycle at 72 degrees is 25 minutes at 30 psi. And the max flow rate at 0 psi, and if you look here, it's showing at 13.8 volts, because obviously the higher the voltage, the faster this pump's going to turn. So if you got this up to a car and it's running and your alternator's working, you're going to have at least the 13.8 volts. Most alternators charge at about 14.25. So obviously at 14 volts roughly is what they're showing that flow rate of 1.47 CFM is what it should be able to put out. It's got a 1-year warranty, as you can see here, or may not be able to see. I don't know if I don't think this camera can actually. Well, there you go. Yeah, 1 year from date of purchase. Ordered this from Amazon. That's the cheapest place I could find it. It's the 88P part number 00088. So let's see what's in the box here. Okay, got a nice bag, nothing else in the box. Of course, got your warranty card. So nice bag to throw in the, throw in the vehicle. Nothing special. Got a long hose for the air, and let's see about the cord. Okay, so there's the bag. Here's the pump. So the whole pump head looks to be aluminum. The body's aluminum here. The back end is plastic. Got a switch on the back, and like I say, we've got a hose that's, it probably says in here how long everything is, but okay, power cord's 10 foot. The air hose is 16 foot. So, I mean, you ought to be able to, even on the biggest trucks, this ought to be able to reach every tire on the vehicle. Got some nice heavy duty. I like those alligator clips. They appear to be very heavy duty. They're insulated all the way around, so you shouldn't have to worry about shorting anything out there. It's got an inline fuse. It is a 20 amp fuse, and then the air hose itself. Get these twist ties off here. I don't know if you guys can hear that wind. It's kind of windy, so hopefully it's not drowning out my voice. But yeah, so there's the hose, and again, so you've got a pretty long cord, so you can hook it to the battery, set this down on the ground, then run the hose pretty much to whichever tire you need. So now I think I read online yeah, it tells you to start the vehicle, because it doesn't want you running down the battery, but I'm not going to run it because it'd just be that much more noisy for you guys. So I'm gonna reposition the vehicle so I can get to the battery, and then I'll hook the camera up. Also got to hook the scope up. And what I'm using, so I've got my laptop out here. I've got my Maxxis scope by Autel. It's the MP408. It's the model number. And basically what this is an oscilloscope, 4-channel USB, so it hooks to any of the Maxxis scan tools that accept the USB maxi scope or laptop. And I'm going to use the Snap-on amp probe, EETA308A. It's the model number of that. And we're going to see what kind of current this thing pulls while we're pumping this tire up over here. And this is a what size is this? 275 60 20, and that equates to a 33-inch tall tire, almost 11 inches wide. So there are wider 33-inch tires. This is a factory wheel and tire off of a 2020 GMC Sierra. But I mean, it's a pretty good sized tire. It's about 11 inches wide, according to if you go to Discount Tire's website, you can put in, they've got a calculator that you can actually put in any tire size, as far as the metric size, the 275 60 20, and they'll tell you everything about that tire, as far as the sidewall height, the total diameter of the tire, how wide the tire is, how many revolutions in a mile it turns. It tells you all kinds of cool stuff. Anyway, it equates, and I did measure these tires. They're right at 33 inches tall and about 11 inches wide. And just to prove that this tire is completely flat, first of all, I don't know if you can see that, but here's the tire pressure gauge. No air whatsoever in that tire. So let me get I'm gonna pull the Jeep over here and we'll hook the compressor up. We'll see how loud it is, and we'll see how long it's going to take to air this tire up. Let me get all set up. Okay, so I've got my son's Jeep pulled over here, and we're hooked up positive and negative. I've got my amp clamp. I've got it set on the 40 amp scale, and I've just got it around the positive lead. Pump's down here. Pump does have rubber feet. It is an oilless pump compressor. There's no oil in it. That's good and bad. That's a whole different story. So it does have a built-in gauge. Now, the one thing you need to know about these, when they've got a built-in gauge, you can't get an accurate air reading when the pump's on. So you've got to kill it and see what the where you're actually sitting at. So I'll show you what I'm going to do. So right now I've got the scope all set up. See if I can get that glare out of there. And I've got it set using the amp clamp, and basically all that does is that calibrates the scale over here. I've got it set from 0 to up to 20 amps. Since it said the max current this pulls is 20 amps, I doubt it's ever, I don't think it's even going to go over 10 amps, but we'll have to see. I'll turn it on, we'll see just with it free running, blowing air out of the end of the hose, how much current that it's pulling. In fact, let me, here, hold on, I'm going to set up the, to where we can actually read it digitally also. Okay, so I got the scope all set up. Right there, we're sitting at about 0 amps. And you know what, oops, let me, I'm going to come up here, we're going to turn on a filter, kind of clean that up a little bit. That should thin that line out. Yeah. Okay. So I'm all hooked up on the Jeep. The tire is flat. I'm going to put the valve core back in. Okay. So let me go get a new battery and we're going to get this started. Okay, so before I turn it on, or before I hook the hose up, we're just going to see how much current it pulls. Just blowing air straight out of the end. So, let me turn it on. Almost 12 amps. Okay, so I'm going to plug the end. Yep. In fact, down here, let's watch this. I'm just gonna, so I've got the end right here with me. And what I'm gonna do, so there's the average. So right now it's drawing about 12 amps. I'm gonna plug the end of this off and make the pump really work. Went up to 16 amps. Okay. Let's get this hooked up. Just a nice screw-on fitting. That way you don't have to sit there and hold it on. Just like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn this puppy on. to start, hold on a minute, we're going to start a stopwatch, see how long it takes. Now it's been going for about 15 seconds already, so keep that in mind. We're going to see how long it takes to go from 0 PSI to 40 on a 33-inch tall tire. Right now we're almost at 15 amps. Probably about 20 actually. Definitely pumping air into it. In almost a minute. Actually, with the 15-second head start that I got, probably about a minute and 15 seconds now. Still sitting at about 14 and a half. About 15. You can see how, as the pressure increases, the pump has to work harder. And you can see the ripples. That's the commutator of the motor right there. And I'm going to do a review on this scope, that Autel scope, and I'll show you how you can actually tell how many segments to the motor you have just by looking at the waveform. Okay, so we're about 15 and a half amps. See how much PSI we're sitting at. We're about 30. And I've just got the scope. I don't know if I already said, but I've got it set up with the current probe option. And all that does basically is it calibrates your scale over here into amperage. It just automatically does the conversion for you. Just a little easier. This is Autel's software. I'm not sure if it's the latest one or not. Still about 15 and a half. It's hit a little over 16. It's going to drop. So it's a little under 30 right now. That's the accurate reading with the pump off. Degrees it looks like. Very hot. Can't keep your hand on it. We're almost at 17 amps. Been going for almost 4.5 minutes. Now the box says a 31-inch tall tire going from 30 PSI to 40 would take about a minute. Going from 20 to 30 would take about 50 seconds. And it's got some current measurements down here too. So PSI, we're sitting at about 30. Well, we're probably at about 35 now. And it's showing amps would be right around 18 amps. And we're pretty close to that. This is showing about 17.2. And we're probably around 35. No, we're about 38. That's close enough. That's probably about 39 and a half. It does have a little light on it too. The hose is very hot. Even about 3 feet away. I mean, that's compressing some air. And the head is very, very hot. But there you have it. So better take a quick look here before time runs out. So probably about 5.5 minutes, we'll say. Showing 6 there, but I was kind of messing around down there after I turned it off. Of course, you can see we're back at 0 amps. A little bit of noise in there. So there you have it. About 5.5 minutes is what I would estimate that it took to go from 0 to 40 PSI on a 33-inch tall tire. And we now know that it does pull around 18 amps once it gets to about 35 PSI. Now, I'd like to say that I always carry a plug kit in my vehicle. Always have for years, and I've plugged a lot of tires, and I'm very thankful that I had the plug kits in my vehicles. Many times I pulled into some place, and when I got out, I heard the leak, but it still had plenty of air in the tire. I was able to pull the screw or nail or whatever out, get it plugged before the air leaked out, and I was still able to drive on it. It still had enough air in it. There was a few times I came out of work and my tire was flat, and I was able to plug it. Back then I did not have a pump in my truck, so I would have to take the tire off and take it up to the shop and air it up, which is now why I always have a pump in my vehicles. I have a plug kit and a pump, so I can plug a tire and get it pumped back up and get back on the road without even having to take the tire off. So if you've got a truck, even a car, I've got a pump and a plug kit in my wife's BMW. That way, if we're out, her car doesn't have a spare tire, first of all. There's no room for a spare. They don't give you a spare. So obviously, if you do not have a spare, you definitely want to have a pump like this and a plug kit, so you can at least plug a hole, air it back up, and get back on the road. If you have a spare, then I guess, you know, that's up to you if you want to get you a pump and a plug kit. But this is the nicest pump, little portable pump like this that I've ever used. This, I think, is going to be a great little pump. VIAIR is one of your leading portable pump brands. They make pumps all the way up about $400 or $500. So, you know, ones that you mount under the hood for off-road vehicles. And they make cheaper ones than this. This is like middle of the road, I guess. I didn't want the cheapest, but I'm not going to spend $200 or $300 on a little portable pump either. So I can't remember what I paid for this. I think it was about $65 or something. But anyway, it's got a nice bag to put it all in and throw it in your truck under the seat, and when you need it, you've got it. I'm going to do a review on the plug kit that I carry also. I finally got a nice plug kit. I've always used just the Walmart little plug kits. They've always worked, and those are fine, but I finally wanted just a nicer one. So anyway, yeah, if you need a pump, I highly recommend this pump. It seems like it's going to do great. So it is oilless, so there's no oil that you got to worry about. and 1 year warranty. So if you need something like this, this would be a good one, I think, to have. Seems to be great. Anyway, I'm done. You guys take care.